Enlightened World Network. I want to check and make sure that this is actually on. So I'm going to just take a break here for 1 second. I'm Dr. Ruth Anderson here for February's New Month Numerology Report. Michele Landers is our fabulous numerologist. But let me just make sure we're on Facebook before we go too much further. Michele, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
She's on.
Thank you.
Okay. We're live, so that's cool.
Yay,
Okay,
yay,
so
yay.
February was January the fastest month?
I don't know where January went. I'm still trying to figure it out, I just don't. But yeah, this is going to be like a speedball year, if that's the right expression. I don't know if that is. Isn't that's a drug expression, I think. Maybe I shouldn't have used that.
Not
Uh,
yours.
bullet train year. How about that? Bullet train year. So much information. So thank you for allowing me to present the energy of what's going on in February. I am just going to shut down some things and a little, uh, certainly not disclaimer, but just a heads up. There's a Abby is very active this morning, so if there's some barking in the background, I apologize for that, but maybe she has something to add to this. So anyway, so let's get going. Here we are in February. What I do want to state up front, again, as a reminder, a couple of things, and I'll probably do this every month because it has a lot of weight and importance. We're going into on February 9th or 10th, we're going into the Chinese New Year of the Wood Dragon. And it's so interesting how all of these modalities, whether it's astrology, numerology, readings, they all mirror one another, which I always find so fascinating. So the year of the Wood Dragon, it symbolizes progress, growth, expansion, strength. It is good fortune. It is about power. It's about honor. It's about luck. It's about success. So it can bring and will bring many opportunities, many changes, but of course also challenges. The other thing I wanted to bring to the forefront, like I will do again every month, is remember Pluto is going through Aquarius, and Pluto going through Aquarius for the next 20 years is charged with creating a world where we're all included, where all human beings are being cared for and are we're caring more for humanity as a whole. So that will necessitate the breakdown of old structures. So that is a long-term transit, but we will be witnessing it. This year is kind of the beginning of it, although last year we had a couple of times when we did experience that. So that's going to be really interesting. So Aquarius, we know it's exploding technology, exploding, and we are definitely witnessing that now. So let's just go into, I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Oh, yes, the Pluto through in Aquarius, and I just want to mention about something I talked about last month, the feisty energy across the globe. And I've just been hearing about and reading about protesting, across the world, farmers, Paris, Germany, Australia, Argentina. We also talked about last month, I mentioned about forward strides in the biomedical community, more advances in medical treatments. And I just heard this the other day. Elon Musk created what's called a neural link, and that's in a chip that is implanted within the human body, and it gives you the ability to control your computer and a lot of electronics. Now, that's not something I'm ready to sign up for, but it is there. on another note, that, and it obviously does not have FDA approval, but they're doing testing, right now, or whatever it is. The other thing is Dr. Mary Nora, I think her name is Dissis, and she authored a paper on an experimental breast cancer vaccine that safely generates anti-tumor immunity. That is the big news, one of the big news flashes in the medical community, and they are doing trials right now. So that's not something that is just, maybe in 10 or 20 years, that imminent, imminent. So good old February, the month of love, right? Well, first of all, the one nice thing about it is there are no retrogrades in February. In fact, I don't think we're going to start, we're not going to start experiencing retrogrades until I think April. I'm not 100% sure. I got to check again, but right now there's no retrogrades. And a bunch of the planets are all going into Aquarius, and they're talking to one another. So it sounds like good news. We like it when we hear that, right? It's kind of like when you green light a movie, it's go time. We're green lighting that movie, it's go ahead. Well, yeah, on one hand, that is it. It's we'll talk about the numbers in a minute, but that's go, move forward. The word I like to use, which I think is very appropriate for February for Aquarius, is electrifying. It's a fast moving month. It's a fast moving year. And this is a fast moving month. It's kind of a mover and shaker month, get going. So we're going to talk about the Aquarian energy, which is influencing so many of the planets and all of us. And this month, there's a big focus on Aquarius, of course. So what is Aquarian energy? Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. And I think by now, after listening to me for, I guess it's 2 years now, or a year, I'm not sure. 2 years? Okay. Uranian energy is what? It's shocks, it's surprises, it's unconventional, it's futuristic, it's intelligent, it's scientific, it's progressive, but it's also rebellious. Aquarians do not care much for authority, and I can attest to that. I am an Aquarian. And we actually balk at authority. We question it. Like, what do you mean by that? We just don't go along all the time with what's being presented to us. We want more information. We want to dig. And Aquarians are also for the people. So people in groups are also a part of this energy. So there's a lot of group energy going on this month. So it's pretty noisy month and a lot happening. Everything seems to be firing off at the same time, which is really interesting for me because I've had this little thing at the top of my head that keeps firing off. So the overarching theme this month, along with Pluto, who right now it seems like Pluto is the puppet master, okay, of a lot of these planets. He's shaking things up. Uranus is illuminating, and it can bring in shocking events, but also innovative. And Pluto transforms and transcends, and not always in the nicest way, but in the end, it's always to our benefit. So we have two very powerful planets at the helm, and they like to shake things up. So when we take into consideration that, guess what? It's an 8-year numerologically, and it's the year of the wood dragon. That is such a power punch. Another thing to mention about Aquarius, what I think I just did, it is about groups. So more and more groups coming together, more and more groups protesting, more and more groups saying enough, and more groups wanting to push things through for the people. So we're going to go into the number vibrations. Standing alone, February vibrates to the number 2. If we just look at February by itself, but it's in conjunction with the universal year number of 8. 2024 equals 8. So now we have the number 10, which we reduce to 1. But I am going to talk about the tarot that were those numbers of the tarot. So number 1 is the Magician, and the Magician is really encouraging, and I want to use that word too this month. It's very encouraging to set your intentions. Don't be wishy-washy with what you want to achieve. You've got kind of like, again, this all systems are go this month. So that's the Magician. The number 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, and the Wheel of Fortune can be really positive, especially in conjunction with the number 1. And then we have the High Priestess of the number 2, and she represents a calling to go deep. And, it's really important for us, yes, to go forward and go deep at the same time, if that makes any sense. You have to go in for your answers, because 1 is standing alone, standing in your power. But the 2 is about the High Priestess goes inside. So that is definitely the big message for the month as far as the tarot cards go. So I talked about that. So the 2 energy of February is about we. It's we. But in combination with the 8 year, as I said, it produces the 1 energy. And what's 1 energy? It's about me. So we have a lot of we and me energy. So what do we do with that? We already again have people that are speaking out. So people are speaking out individually, people are speaking out in groups, and we're going to see even more of an emphasis on it. It's also going to bring up how we are in relationships, which is interesting because pretty ironic. This month is traditionally a month of love and relationships. A lot of reevaluating going on in relationships. People asking a question, am I really happy in this relationship? Or am I happy being alone? People changing their minds, which is really interesting, going from one to the other. So it's shaking relationships up. And it's all relationships. It's intimate. It's family, which can be very, intimate in the sense of it be very close, and friends. And there's also a focus on changing your mind, and that has a lot to do with the relationships and also your point of view, changing your mind and your heart. Okay, but I also found all astrological signs, this is really funny, are going to be inclined, again, we've got Aquarius as an overview, are inclined to attract and become attracted to people that they normally wouldn't be attracted to. Just different, unusual, and people going with that, like, that one eye, like, whoa, what is this all about? It can even be like these eccentric types showing up on the world stage or within our relationship. So all of this is just so fascinating and interesting to me this month. It's kind of a crazy month. And again, I think there are a lot of people who would be saying, I don't want to be alone anymore. I want a relationship. And others saying, I want to be alone. I just want to be alone. I want to be by myself. So the number 1 is progressive. It brings a lot of new energy to the surface, as usual, new information, new beginnings. shifting of powers. I don't know how that's going to show up, but shifting of powers is definitely an element. Concerning people, especially people in power, and shifting in power somehow. The overarching theme of the year, of course, is the number 8. So that has to do with money, finances, karma, and all that. So in the financial system, things are shifting. So with all the planets going direct here, the February 1 month, we're being called to get out of our comfort zone. But here's the thing. The number 1 tends to be impatient, right? But the number 2 says, okay, this is not the time to rush into things. I know you want to do that. I know you want to get going. You want to get out of that starting gate. And although you may feel like you want to, and the energy is very self-motivated, there are new things, new plans, new ideas that you want to birth. And that's wonderful. And I do think there's a lot of downloads that we are being affected by that are going to give us innovative ideas and new ideas. Just my suggestion is just be very methodical in your planning. Do your due diligence before committing to anything new. And if you do that, well, I think it's a great energy. It's a good energy. It's a great energy for beginning new things, signing contracts, forming partnerships. And I'll go through a couple of the transits during the month where you might want to stay away from that. But overall, it's really good for signing contracts, forming partnerships. It's a very aggressive month and things can and will happen fast. So yes, take a risk, but make sure it's a calculated one. So know that much of what we see also on a personal level and a global level this month, we might not even notice. I mean, some of it's going to happen, you'll do these things and you'll see results right away. But a lot of that, the seeds that we're planting, we may not see it taking root or sprouting, maybe I should say, until probably April. So February, an important month. Things are happening beneath the surface this month that'll come out in the future. And that, I guess I can tie that into coming out in April. And things that are happening right now under the surface, they can have long-term effects on us. So also, as I mentioned, lots going on in the medical and the biomedical field. I'm really getting tired of saying this because it seems like a theme almost every month. More corruption coming to the surface. But also, if it's this month, it may also have to do with science and technology, or either corruption or unexpected information coming to light, something that we went, oh, really? I didn't know that, or I didn't realize that. So it's going to be a lot of aggressive energy from people, politicians, political parties. What a surprise. There might even be, I'm going to say, because this is a 1 month, it might be in some new political leaders stepping forward, bold statements being made, people very outspoken, very confrontational. So we have Mercury direct, we have Jupiter direct, we have Uranus direct, a lot of power to change things. And of course, remember, we have Pluto in Aquarius, which is rebirth, transformation, and change. And the thing is, the people who I think are going to feel this the most, everybody's going to feel this, the 8 energy overarching or, the theme, but also the Pluto in Aquarius. I think the people that are going to feel it the most are Scorpios and Aquarius. And I kind of like gulped when I heard that, because I'm Aquarius and I already sense changes, which is, without my even consciously, I should say, because in the back of my mind, I'm always doing the numbers, but, you know, yeah, that was like, okay, really? So Uranus electrifying, strongly aspected this month. So we also, oh my goodness, I just realized something. When we were talking previously before we went on about computers, I forgot because of Uranus, which is electrifying, guess what? That is electronics. It's electronics, it's my computer, it's IT, it's maybe even cyber attacks, but yeah, Uranus is at play in a big way, so of course that makes sense. It can generate some paranoia, more conspiracy theorists, that type of stuff. So Pluto is doing something in every whatever house, but I am not. I mean, I do know some astrology, but I don't know enough to do someone's astrological chart. Numerological, yes. But depends on where Pluto lands in your chart. And you can find that out. There's all of these online calculators that you can figure out your personal chart. So the 4th and the 5th, Mercury, there's a Mercury Pluto conjunction. That can be, when you know what Mercury is, thinking, and Pluto, which is, reform and, reformation and upheaval, that could be obsessive thinking, controlling issues, analytical. So we might be feeling, a lot of people will be feeling that more than others. It's about truth. It's also about research. It's about being a detective. So there might be some real heated energy, or information coming to the surface. And whenever I say certain dates, it can be a couple of days before, a couple of days after. But it's in that transit. On the 7th of February, we have Venus trine Uranus. Uranus again, unexpected things, but it can be because we love Venus. Venus is sweet. We love her, and she could bring some very creative. In fact, that's a great time, by the way, a couple of days before, really get into your creative projects, it's very creative. And Neptune is involved, so it also has to do with deeper connections, and that might be love, relationships, but it can be a really, positive energy. On the 9th is the new moon in Aquarius, and right around then is when the Chinese wood dragon year kicks in. So on the 9th, on or before, so put your thinking caps on, because this energy can spark new and revolutionary ideas. However, the moon and the sun are squaring good old Uranus, so it can bring in, again, some intensity, surprising, maybe even shocking events, but it's also a supermoon. So that adds intensity to whatever's going on and also makes us feel a little more emotional. So new things, though, can come out of any of this challenging energy. So people need to know that, it's not all bad, it's not all good. It's knowing how to flow with the energy of it. Now, on the 13th and the 14th, Mars enters Aquarius, and Mars is traditionally known as the warring planet. It enters Aquarius and it immediately conjoins Pluto. And well, that is definitely a period of time where it can shake things up. But how can we use that to our advantage? Well, it's ambitious, and it's a good time to pursue new ways of doing things, be more willing to communicate, because Aquarius is, let's have a discussion. But this is another time where these kind of crazy eccentric relationships can pop up. It increases desires, it's driven, even romantic, a little bit rebellious, a little bit charming. So somebody might get involved with some very eccentric type people that are passionate, but rebellious and charming, very charismatic. On the 14th, it's a big wild card on Valentine's Day because Mars, again, warring energy, but also libido, action as well, is conjunct Pluto, which is power. So Mars, Pluto, well, they kind of fight to the death. They're intense. They fight for survival. So it can be some explosive energy, either literally or figuratively, bringing intense behind the scenes, whatever, to light, intense power struggles, nuclear things going on, struggles, somebody grabbing power. But I will say on that day, be a little before and after, just okay. I hesitate to say this, but because it seems almost kind of vague, but stay away from dangerous situations. No, what does that mean? Oh gosh, I mean, how do you know where there's a dangerous situations? I guess in some areas of your life, you probably would. That could be relationships, that could be people, that could be groups where that there's a possibility of anger or fights. Stay away from those types of things. I would say on Valentine's Day, lay low with your lover or yourself, your own lover. Just lay low that day. Eat a lot of candy. It'll be good for you that day. Yeah. So that day and the surrounding ones will be a little bit emotional and transformative, but in a lot of good ways too. But we have both things at work, really, really both things at work. So spend some time quietly if you can. So on the 16th, again, it just keeps coming up, non-traditional relationships. So I think we're going to be experiencing that on the world stage as well. A little bit of tension, a little bit of drama, secrets coming out. On the 17th, we have Venus and Pluto. Again, these power struggles, karmic relationships. Sometimes this combination causes people to fall head over heels, like this instantaneous attraction, but it also can be jealousy and obsessive attractions, because during the month we have a little bit of this energy of obsession, of drama, of jealousy. But it also can be, again, in politics, this transformation is taking place. So, but there can be scientific breakthroughs. I also was going to talk about water, and I don't know why I didn't finish it, but I think we're going to be concerned with or investigating things having to do with water and discovering something underwater, new discoveries, marine life, the Navy. I mean, anything to do with water may be coming up to, which is funny, coming up to the surface. But yeah, so I think there is definitely discoveries to be made in the sea, in the oceans for sure. And I think that's going on right now, and we may hear about that. The 16th and the 18th, Mercury square Uranus, there's 3 planets that are conjuncting, can be very empowering, more people wanting to share. It's a good energy. And then the sun goes into Pisces, and that brings in a whole nother energy. Pisces is dreamy, imaginative. On the good side, it heightens our intuition. It's wonderful for that. It's wonderful to get these new ideas. The other side of it is watch out for wanting to escape. There's two sides to the same coin, but you want to, the purpose of all this is you want to focus on the positive energy of whatever that is. Then we have the 22nd, which is Venus again conjoins Mars, and that's good for leadership. And actually, if you could celebrate Valentine's Day on the 22nd, I would do that, because it's a passionate day and it's good for love. Okay, on the 23rd, get your spiritual antenna up. It's going to be up because dreams can become more vivid, intuition is heightened. It's a good time to tap into, it's always a good time to tap into your intuition, but there are certain days for sure, and there are certain times when it's easier to get that connection going. Any of the aspects that might be a little bit conflicting is it's another day, good to stay home. There could be challenges with electronics, with travel, with communication, and we might be a little distracted. So it's probably another day to stay home and meditate and eat chocolate. I always think eating chocolate is good. So the 24th, we have full moon in Virgo, sun and moon in opposition. So what's Virgo? Virgo wants to know things. It wants to know. It wants to get organized. Of this feeling, being more accepting of yourselves, finishing things up, get things organized. But a lot of that Pisces energy is going to be there too. On the 27th, there are issues that can escalate. So watch that. The 28th, Saturn is saying, okay, put things in action. And then, yeah. And so I mentioned that Pluto was the puppeteer this month. And the good thing about Pluto is it's wonderful for transformation and new beginnings and even spiritual growth. And we want to embrace and ride that wave of energy. So Pluto can also bring out dominating energy, obsessive energy, tyrants, control, war. So, excuse me, it's just being aware of that energy. So if you feel yourself, with this intensity, see if you can channel that into something creative, creating something. So overall, the month is one of heightened energy and emotions and fast moving, but it's a month. I want to tell everybody you can really accomplish a lot this month and get the ball rolling with any new thoughts or ideas or changing your minds about relationships. But as always, we want to be aware of the energies that are at play and just do our very best to go with the flow of the positive energy. And as always, not be tossed around by what you're hearing outside. And again, it's a one energy, so it's about us. But February is too. It's about me and it's about you. It's about all of us anyway, always, but a lot of focus on us individually and our relationships and the things we want to create and the things we want to put into action. So I think that sums it up for everyone. And Scorpio and Aquarius, you are in for a ride, or we are in for a ride. So thank you.
Wow. I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
This was very interesting and different energy than the months before this. This feels very different. So I do have a question about Aquarius, and humans are made up of so much water, right?
Yes.
Is there a greater pull on humans emotionally or cognitively or behaviorally when we're in Aquarius? Is there a correlation to that?
Well, that's interesting. And my answer is, I don't know. That's my answer. But I will tell you, Aquarius is the water bearer. And so that could answer your question, but it's also an air sign.
Oh, interesting. Okay, it's not a
Yeah.
water sign.
It's not a water sign, it's an air sign, but it is the water bearer. So it could be that. I know that you know, Pluto is, pulling on us for sure. And Uranus is, pulling us kind of up. So it's just so much of that energy is going to naturally affect our emotions, the intensity of things. So, but
Yeah,
that was a good question.
interesting. So when you talk about changing your mind, is
Mhm.
it a fluctuating changing your mind, or is it like I'm changing my mind and I am out of this relationship? You know what I'm asking?
Yes, I do. And let's put it this way. For this month, it would be I'm out or I'm in, one or the other. Okay. Because somebody might be, there are people, and I've heard this, which is so funny. I've heard from people, from clients that some people are thinking, I have spent all these years alone and I don't want to be alone anymore. And I kind of think, wow, that is so wild because that's the energy for this month. And other people are saying, I am done. I'm just done. So at the moment, that's how we're being affected. So is that going to carry through? I
That's
guess.
that's the question. If
Yeah.
if you decide this month, I am done with this relationship, is it a
Mhm.
safe month to act on that? Or do you
Yes.
say, I'm just going to wait till March and then I'll rethink this?
Yeah, no, I think that this is a month for action, but one of the things I did say, well thought out action. So do your list of pros and cons. This is a good time, but don't listen to anybody else. Listen to yourself. But yeah, make those list of why do you want this? Why do you want that? Make a list of pros and cons. It's a great month to put it into action. Yes, absolutely. Because you have that support behind you of the one, which is new beginnings for you. And it can bring very good new beginnings. So again, just to repeat myself, make sure you do your due diligence when it comes to if you're thinking about that, but it can definitely carry through. Yeah.
But really important that you know yourself and why
Yes.
you want to make change. And right, there's just so many important pieces. If you feel like you're just being kind of tossed around, don't
Yeah.
make any big decisions. But if it's really a centered, I've been thinking about this for a long time and I finally have the strength to do this, that is fun.
Yes, yes, that's exactly it. Because the one gives you the impetus to move, to go forward. So
Yeah.
it will naturally bring up things that you've been working on or thinking about doing, and you're green lighting it. You're green lighting it this month. But the caution is, don't be impatient, or don't rush through things. Just say, okay, think it out, and have a plan to do that.
Yeah. Don't be
So,
reactive, in other words.
right, don't be reactive. Yes, yes, yes,
Right.
yes.
Michelle, thank you so very much. Michelle, what
Thank,
would you like folks to know about you?
oh gosh, I love to cook. No, I just,
She's very good.
thank you. Yeah, okay, that I am a board certified life coach and a hypnotherapist and a professional numerologist, and I've written a couple of books. And if anyone would like to chat with me, I offer a free 15 to 20-minute consult. Just go to my website. It's michellelanders.com, and you can make an appointment on there, and I'll be happy to chat with you.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So friends, thank you for being here at Enlightened World Network. Michelle does this the first day of every month, or as close as we can get to the
It's
first day of every month, depending on the electronics. So
right.
it's such a beautiful gift that she gives
Thank
us.
you.
Always fascinating. So take care. God bless. We'll see you all soon.